it's Kenny J back with another video. And I will say this, I have recorded this maybe about 2 times already, and I did not like either way they came out, so I'm just gonna redo it again. But yeah, I finished my finals, done with my finals, so I figured, hey, why not have a story time, you know? So I'm gonna tell you the first time I ever got into a relationship. And boy, was this an experience. So, first time ever dating anybody or considered dating anybody. So, I figure, hey, I don't know how to go about this. I'll be right back. Apologize for that. It was my boyfriend who's always calling me in the middle of something that I need to be doing. You ever have somebody in your life where they just constantly, well, not constantly, but they call you at the exact time that you're doing something and you really just don't have time to talk? It's just like, really? I know I'm just making a video, but still, I like doing my videos when I have everything in my head and I'm ready to just go. So, what was I talking about? Okay. First relationship. Yes. So, yeah, we met off of POF, which is a dating app, and met each other, and I thought it was a good time. I took him to Rocky, when I was a part of the LDLD group. So, took him to that, and we ended up staying at a friend's house, because at the time we were friends. I was his ride to work, so we stayed over at his house, and then once we dropped him off from work, I took my then new budding relationship person, I guess I'll give him the name D. So I took D home, and after so much time it went by, I started noticing that a lot of the effort in the relationship was being produced by me. And what I mean is I was always financially coming out of pocket whenever we went out to eat or wherever we went. Every so often he would pay, but mostly it was because of me wanting to be impressing and wanted to, show off, I guess you could say, because it was, like I said, it was my first relationship. So I figured, hey, why not go out, go all out. But I don't know, I guess he felt entitled to that or something like that, because after so long it seemed like it was just me giving and that's it, and it wasn't like the relationship was this, it was never something I had envisioned. I didn't envision my first relationship being that way, because then it became this abusive, once physical, because he did attempt to slap me, but it turned into like one of those facial mush things where somebody takes your face and does that with you, which was a mistake. Actually, was cooking his family dinner, and I had a butcher knife in my hand. And this fool decides to take his hand and mush me in my face. And I'm like, bitch, you gonna do that with this knife in my hand? Really? So that was a whole ordeal. The relationship was never sexual. We were never sexual with each other. I don't know. It's just I don't know where things went wrong. And my thing is, you really don't know a person until you really get to know them. And the fact of the matter he was just too far gone to be considered relationship material. I didn't realize this until it was too late, simply because I'm always the one trying to fix what can't be fix what can't be fixed. A broken person has to be able to mend and cope with whatever it is that they're going through to be able to fix themselves. And unbeknownst to me, he just was not in the right stable mind frame to be in a relationship. But me just trying to give gifts and trying to become more available and this, it just wasn't enough, and to the point where all of a sudden lies were being told. I had called one day and I told him that we were having, my friends and I were having a New Year's Eve party, and I had invited him. So he was like, oh yeah, he was all excited about it and this, that, and the third. So the day of, he calls me talking about, oh, I'm sick, I don't feel well, my throat hurts, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, well, all right, take some medicine, rest, make sure you get yourself better. And if you change your mind, let me know and I'll come pick you up. Because where I was at was only like 30 minutes to 45 minutes away from where he stayed. But later on that night, I didn't hear from him, which I kind of expected. But then all of a sudden I started getting phone calls from his phone. But every time I would answer the phone, I hear this background noise. So I'd say maybe like the third time I pick up the phone after my phone rings and it's his number, I hear a lot of laughing, really. I hear a lot of laughter in the background. I hear a lot of music. I hear a lot of what sounds like to me a party. So I hang up the phone and then finally I call back. He answers the phone. I'm like, why do you keep dialing my number? And then hanging up the phone, excuse me. I didn't dial you. I didn't dial your phone number, this, that, and the third. I'm like, are you sure? Because your phone keeps calling my phone. What's going on? Sorry, I'm trying to fix my camera. So I'm like, what's going on? So all of a sudden, like I said, I hear laughter and music in the background. I'm like, is your aunt having a New Year's Eve party or something like that? No, I decided to go to a friend's party. Okay, so you're gonna go to a friend's party even though I invited you to where I'm gonna be at, but you went to someone else's party. Oh, I don't want to hear your shit right now. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to go through it right now, this, that, and the third. I hung up the phone, and keep in mind, I had like maybe 2 drinks or whatever. I wasn't, drunk or whatever, but I was almost half tempted to like get in my car and track his ass down. But my friends was like, you know what, don't even bother, because at this point, they've been hearing about our bickers and our fights and stuff like that, and they were like, you know what, he's not worth it. Enjoy your time while you're here. So all of a sudden, he, like I said, being at this friend's house and stuff like that, all of a sudden these friends started coming out of nowhere. I came over to his aunt's house one day, and he was out the entire night. Came back to his aunt's house the next morning, and I'm there, and he's looking at me. Well, this is exactly what he said. He was like, what are you doing here? Well, I couldn't reach you last night, so I'm here because I'm worried about you. I'm your boyfriend. That's what people in relationships do. But I guess that doesn't register to somebody who doesn't really care about a relationship. They just care about what they want. So like I said, these friends all of a sudden came out of nowhere. Keep in mind, this is a person who pretty much stays home all day, every day, other than work. So I'm like, who are these friends and why haven't I heard of them? All of a sudden you're hanging out with friends you're really hard to get a hold of. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, so you want to take it there. Because I'm like, you must have found someone else. You must be cheating, because obviously this isn't making any sense. Because if these were friends of yours, then you wouldn't mind introducing me to them. And mind you, previously before, we was in a restaurant, and one of his so-called classmates walked in, or she was already there, excuse me. We walked in, and they were leaving. And I go to sit down, but he never even bothers to say, hey, this is my boyfriend, yada, yada. Doesn't even introduce me, so, it just got to the point where little things like that was throwing up real big red flags to the point where I was noticing them. And the reason why I wasn't noticing them, like I said, because I was willfully trying to ignore the signs. The last straw for me was when, and this is kind of what started me on my journey of awakeness, I guess you could say. Me actually being exposed to who he really is. His aunt's brother, I want to say. Yeah, his aunt's brother was having his wedding anniversary. I can't remember how many years they were celebrating, but having their anniversary celebration, and I was invited to it. So I get to the aunt, his aunt's house, and I'm getting ready and stuff like that. This fool, out of all the times that he's always had his cell phone in his hand, even when he goes to the restroom, he's always had his phone on him. He leaves his phone in the bathroom. All right, while I'm in there getting all fixed up and stuff like that, and I see a text come up on his screen. Keep in mind, he had an iPhone, so I guess with iPhones, I have an Android, so I don't know how iPhones work, but I guess when you get a text message, the first thing that pops up is the message on the screen. So I look down at the screen and it says, "Hey babe, how you doing?" I was like, oh, fuck you. Okay. So I close the bathroom door, lock it, and seeing that I see everything out of my peripheral vision, I was able to, when my boyfriend, or when my ex was sitting next to me one day, I was actually able to see the code on his phone. And I know you guys are like, oh, that's just rude. You don't go through somebody's phone. Like, what's wrong with you? At this point, when you see a message pop up on your, the person that you're with, pop up on their phone talking about, hey babe, how you doing? And it's not you. I'm sorry, I do have grounds to go through your phone, and I'm going to find out what it is that this person is talking about. So that's what I did. I locked the phone, went through the phone, and there's all these messages between him and this guy talking about, I miss you, I wish you would come over, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Like they were in a relationship. And I'm like, oh, hell no. First of all, the first instinct for me to do was to, one, crush the damn phone. But I was distracted because he started knocking on the phone, knocking on the door wanting his phone. So I open the door. He blows past me. Never mind, I'm standing there. He blows past me like I'm not even there. Takes his phone and goes back into his room. So I follow him in, and I close the door because the entire family was at the house. And one, I'm trying to say, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit nice about this and maybe tone my attitude down, but you got some explaining to do and you better do it now. So when I closed the door, I said, you have something to tell me? And he looks at me with this dumbfounded, googly-eyed look, like, no, I don't, what are you talking about? I said, okay, so you're going to pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about, but yet you sitting there talking to somebody as if you're in a relationship with them? I said, who the hell is that you're talking to? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, I saw the messages, so don't play, because I will embarrass you in front of your entire family. So either you explain what you got going on, or I'm gonna open this door and I'm gonna blast your ass through the entire fucking house. Which is it? So he decides to tell me, and he's like, "Oh well, it was going on before we met." And I said, "Okay, so if it happened before we met, why are you still talking to this fool?" I said, "You know what? I had it." So as I'm getting ready to walk out the house, his aunt stops me in my tracks, and she's like, "Well, where are you going?" This, that, and the third. So basically, moral of the story: I let the family dictate how I wanted the relationship to go. Because I like the family so much, I stuck around. And I'm not saying that they dictated to me like, you should stay, you should stay. They were actually the ones telling me, you need to go. You like need to leave him alone because he's not all there. He's not wrapped. But like I said, me trying to always fix things and trying to always put things into perspective and try to be there, it just wasn't working. And I'm trying to make something work that will not work. So, and that was the problem. So, pretty much that whole entire 6 months of hell was partly my fault because I let it happen, but I really encourage you guys who are out there who are new to the dating scene, who may or may not have come out yet, really take into consideration of the person you're getting into a relationship with, really take into consideration of the dynamics that you guys have and your personalities. You know, if you're young and there's not many finances, I mean, most people say, oh, I want to give this person this and I want to give that person. No, if you two being together isn't enough, then you don't need to be together. And here's what I mean. Yes, it's nice to go out. It's nice to be able to do for your significant other and things of that nature, but it's not everything. And that's a hard lesson I needed to learn. You know, it cost me a lot of money and a lot of time. You know, I mean, 6 months in a relationship, you know, in the relationship world isn't a long time, but to me, for it being my first relationship, that is a long time. And the first thing you want to do is get it right the first time. But, you know, some people, they're fine with serial dating. You know, they're fine with doing this and doing that. But me, I was relationship oriented, so I always wanted to be in a relationship. But anyway, I'm not going to ramble on anymore. And I hope you like this video. Always like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Bye.